Hey friends, happy Sunday and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I'm a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I share What's for Dinner videos just like this every Sunday to give you some new meal ideas and to motivate you to cook more for your family. That's why I started making these videos back in 2018 because we were eating out a lot and we needed to save some money and just it's better for you to eat at home. So I started making the videos to kind of motivate myself to cook more, and I've just continued doing it every week. And if you are interested in watching those videos, there's a playlist linked in the description box, and any recipes that I mention will also be linked down there. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night for dinner, I made a smoked sausage and potato sheet pan dinner. So I'm starting off with one of those little bags of the baby potatoes. I used the whole bag and I just cut them all up. Some of them I quartered, some of them I halved, just depending on how big they were. And then I tossed those on a sheet pan. Then to those potatoes, I added some olive oil, one package of Lipton onion soup mix, and then some garlic powder and some black pepper. Growing up, my mom always made the Lipton onion soup mix just like roasted potatoes, and I hated them growing up. I hated anything onion growing up, but now as an adult, I love them, and I was just really wanting some of those this night. But then I also kind of was wanting like the fried in a skillet smoked sausage and potatoes. So instead I just kind of like combined the two. So I sliced up some smoked sausage and added that to the sheet pan with the potatoes, and then this went in the oven on 425 for a total of 45 minutes, and I stirred it halfway through. And then to go with this, I made a can of green beans. This is something I make weekly at least, if not a couple times a week. Canned green beans are just a vegetable that I know everyone in my family is going to eat. So I thought I would share how I make them because I don't always show it. So I just dump in 1 can of green beans, do about a tablespoon of butter, sometimes a little bit less. And then I do some pepper and some garlic powder, and then I switch between the 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's, and then sometimes I use the Badia Complete, and then I always add in a little bit of chicken bouillon. I don't measure any of this. I kind of just do it how I know I like it, taste it, see if I need to add any more, and just simmer those on like medium low while everything else cooks. And here is how that turned out. The potatoes and the sausage both came out perfect, nice and crispy, but the potatoes were nice and soft on the inside. It was delicious, and I will definitely make this again. Saturday night, I made some sun-dried tomato chicken Alfredo. I was just kind of winging it this night. I had some sun-dried tomatoes that I wanted to use up, so I decided to just kind of wing it on some Alfredo. So I'm starting off by cutting up some chicken breasts into about 1-inch pieces, and then I'm going to season them all over with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion salt, Italian seasoning, and paprika. Then in a deep skillet, I heated up about a tablespoon of olive oil, and then once that was hot, I'm going to add in my chicken. My favorite tip for making chicken like this is to like lay it all out in a nice flat even layer, and then just like don't touch it for 4 to 5 minutes. Let it sear, let it get a nice browned, crispy coating on the bottom, and then you can flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. While my chicken was cooking, I went ahead and brought a pot of salted water to a boil, and then I'm cooking up half a box of linguine noodles. Once the chicken was done, I removed it from the pan and just set it to the side. And then I'm going to add in a couple tablespoons of some sun-dried tomatoes. These are the ones that come in the jar, like packed in oil. I tried not to add in too much of the oil because I didn't really need it because there was still some oil in the pan from the chicken. But I just added in some of those, and then I also added in a couple cloves of minced garlic, and then I let this cook for about a minute. Then I added in 2 cups of heavy cream and some black pepper. I'm not going to salt this yet. I'm going to wait till the end after I add in some Parmesan cheese to see how much salt I need to add, because Parmesan cheese can be pretty salty. And then I'm just going to bring this to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, I'm going to reduce the heat to a medium low and let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes until it starts to thicken up. Once the sauce had thickened up, then I added in some Parmesan cheese. I'm going to taste the sauce to see if I need to add any salt. I believe I added some more salt and pepper. And then I'm going to add in my chicken and my cooked linguine noodles. Make sure everything is combined really well. The pasta is all coated with the sauce. And then this is ready to serve. To go with this, we just had a salad, and the pasta was delicious. I always kind of do the same thing when I just kind of wing it on these nights. Sometimes I add in pesto, and sometimes I do different pasta. I've even done it with gnocchi, and it always turns out delicious. Sunday night, I made some air fryer chicken thighs. I always love doing chicken in the air fryer, especially skin on chicken. So these are some bone-in, skin on chicken thighs that I'm going to put in the air fryer. Typically, I just season them up, but I found this Kinder's marinade at Big Lots, so I am using that. And like early in the day, I took my chicken thighs, put them in a bowl with some of the marinade, and just let them marinate in the fridge for a few hours. When it came time to cook the chicken, I first started off by spraying my air fryer basket with a little bit of olive oil cooking spray. It makes it not stick as much, and it makes for easier cleanup. And then I put my chicken thighs on here, and I put them on here skin side up because I'm going to season these, and I'm actually going to start by cooking them skin side down. So I'm going to go ahead and season the skin side first. I'm going to do some onion salt, garlic powder, paprika, and salt and pepper, and then I'm going to flip these over and do the same thing on the underside. And then I always cook my chicken thighs at about 375 for 25 to 30 minutes until they are fully cooked. About 15 minutes into the cooking time, I will go in and flip them over so that they are now skin side up, so that skin can get nice and crispy, and then continue cooking them until they are all the way done. And here's how that turned out. The chicken was delicious. It was even more flavorful than normal. And to go with it, we had some Instant Pot mac and cheese, which I will leave my video for that down below. And then those of us that like salad had salad with it. Monday night, we had taco potato casserole. If you saw Thursday's vlog, then you have already seen this, but I thought I would include a more like sped up version in the what's for dinner. So I'm starting off by cooking up 1 pound of ground beef with half of a diced onion and a couple cloves of minced garlic. And then I'm also going to add in some taco seasoning. The recipe calls for 1 package of taco seasoning to add in later to the crock pot, but I went ahead and added some of that in to the ground beef so it could cook up in that seasoning, because I always like to do that even when I cook tacos or anything. Then to the crock pot, I'm going to add 2 pounds of frozen shredded hash browns, 1 can of Rotel drained, about half a cup of sour cream, the rest of that taco seasoning, and then the recipe that I'm following had you use 1 can of like cheddar cheese soup, but instead of using that, I used this Rico's nacho cheese that I had on hand, so I thought the nacho flavor would be good in it. And then I also added in about 2.5 cups of shredded cheese, and then I gave that a stir because I figured it'd be easier to start mixing it without the ground beef added in. So I started mixing it up, and then I'll add in the ground beef. You could always mix it in a really large bowl, but I'm not about that life. I don't want to dirty a bunch of dishes that I don't have to, so whenever I can, I try to mix things in the thing that I'm going to be cooking it in. So once I had everything mixed together, I'm going to put the crock pot lid on this and cook it on low for 4 hours, or you could do high for 2 hours. And that's it for this recipe. It's super simple. It's just dump everything in, and when it's done, it's done. You can top with your favorite taco toppings. I just topped it with some cilantro. Next time I would probably do some hot sauce. The leftovers of this were delicious. I was really skeptical on whether or not my family would like this dish with hash browns going in the crock pot, but everybody really enjoyed it. Next up, we have chicken cobbler. This is a recipe I've seen going around on TikTok, and I really wanted to give it a try. So I'm starting off with 1 stick of butter here. I'm going to pop that in the oven while it preheats to get that melted. And then I also have a rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club that I'm going to shred up while that's melting in the oven. So once that melted butter came out of the oven, I added some of that chicken to the bottom of the casserole dish. It was about 3 cups of chicken. I didn't use everything that came off of that rotisserie chicken, just enough to have like 1 flat layer of chicken to cover the bottom of the pan. And then I topped that with 1 drained can of mixed vegetables. Now in a separate bowl, I'm mixing together 1 package of the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit mix, or you could just use 2 cups of Bisquick mix, but I'm using the Red Lobster cheddar bay biscuit mix because I had it on hand. I'm also adding in the little seasoning packet and then 2 cups of milk, and I'm going to whisk that together. Once it's whisked together really well, I'm going to pour that over the top of the chicken and vegetable mixture, and then I'm going to use this same bowl. I'm not going to dirty another bowl. It's all going to get mixed together in the pan anyway, so I'm using the same bowl, and I'm going to mix together 1 can of cream of chicken soup and 2 cups of chicken broth, or I did 2 cups of water and a little bit of the Knorr chicken bouillon. Gonna whisk that together and then pour that over everything that I already have in the pan. And you're not going to stir this. You're just gonna pour it straight over it. And then I bake this on 350 for about 50 minutes. When it comes out, it's gonna look a little bit jiggly because, I mean, the inside, it's going to be creamy on the inside, but the top, you want it to be nice and golden brown. And then I let this sit for about 10 minutes before serving it up. And y'all, this was delicious. Absolutely delicious. It was creamy and rich and filling. It's like a really good, like, comfort meal. Somebody in the comments on the TikTok video said it reminded them of like chicken and dumplings mixed with like chicken pot pie, and I feel like that's a pretty accurate description. And it's got like the crust on it, but it's like super creamy, and everybody in my house loved it. I will definitely make that again. I will say, I think next time I will just do half a stick of butter instead of a whole stick of butter, because it was very buttery and I don't think it needed quite that much butter, although like butter makes everything better. So I don't know, but yeah. Wednesday night was just spaghetti night. I made some ground beef spaghetti, and then we had some cheesy garlic bread from Aldi with it. And then I really wanted a big salad, so I had like mostly salad and then a little bit of spaghetti. But yeah, that was spaghetti night. Thursday night we did pizza bagels. We used to do these all the time, and I usually make them like in the toaster oven or the air fryer, but since I was making so many at once, it was just easier to use the oven. I have some of them everything bagel and then one a regular bagel. You could do it on whatever you like, but me and Elijah wanted everything and Lily wanted regular. And then when Andy came home later and made his, he also had it on a regular bagel. So I just started off by brushing these bagels with some of the Chef Shamley's garlic butter, and then I stuck those in the oven for about 5 minutes so they could get a little bit toasted, and I did them on 425. And then when they came out, I just topped them with some marinara sauce, some mozzarella cheese, and some pepperoni for those of us that wanted pepperoni. And then they went back in the oven on 425 for about 8 minutes. Anything pizza is always a hit in our house. Of course, these were delicious. And to go with them, those of us that like salad had salad. And of course, Lily just had some fresh veggies. But that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. If you made it here all the way to the end, make sure you leave me a smiley face emoji in the comments down below. And also let me know if you plan on trying any of these recipes. I think my favorite this week is definitely that chicken cobbler. It's the one that I would recommend trying the most. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!